Oh, there were no time for additional questions, but are we taking them offline if we?
Yes. So hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Good.
Hello.
Okay, perfect. So hello everyone. So the goal of this presentation is to highlight some connection between information theory and the control of dynamical system, and more precisely how we can use some classical information theory tools for the control, or at least the analysis of dynamical system. So the problem that we want to tackle is the control of complex dynamical systems. So for example, a drone evolving in a complex environment and submit to external disturbances. And the system could be given through a differential inclusion model or through a black box setting. And in that case, it will require some data-driven techniques. And what we want is to provide a generic procedure to design efficient controller. But obviously, there is plenty of strategy that we can design to control complex dynamical system. But I will focus on a particular technique, which are the formal methods, and more precisely, the abstraction-based techniques. So basically, the abstraction-based techniques, the idea is the following. So you have your original dynamical system, which is complex with a nonlinear function, and which could be with a continuous state space. And what we will do is to replace this dynamical system with another system, which is much easier to manipulate with a computer. And basically, since the original system is continuous, so we have an infinite number of states. And so what you will do is to discretize each variable of the problem in order to obtain a combinatorial problem on a finite state automaton. But still, obviously, we will lose some information during this process because of the discretization, and we will introduce some non-determinism. But still, we want to be able to keep strong formal guarantees for the original problem. And so that's why the way that we will construct the abstraction, we need to keep a particular relation between the two systems. And so there is 3 steps. First, we have to abstract the system, and then we can solve the control problem on this abstraction. And thanks to the relation, we are able to refine the controller into a controller to solve the original problem. And so precisely, you have here, for example, the 2-dimensional continuous state space. And so you discretize it, for example, with a grid. And then for each cell, you will associate a discrete state in the automaton, so in the abstract system. And then for each cell, and for a given input, you compute the reachable set of the cell. So all the states that can be reached from this cell for a given time step with this input. And so in general, it's impossible for nonlinear function to compute exactly this reachable set. That's why we compute another approximation of the reachable set, for example, with an hyperrectangle. And then for all the cells which have a non-empty intersection with this hyperrectangle, we can add an edge in the abstraction. And so the abstraction contains all the possible behavior of the original system. But since in the abstraction point of view, we don't care about precisely the position into a cell, we have some non-determinism. And so being in that state, we could reach any of these states. And so we have to take into account the worst case in order to keep the formal guarantees. And so, for example, the discretization of the grid is really important. So the size of the cell. And so, for example, here we have in black some obstacle. And in the point of view of the abstraction, we have to consider the cell with a non-empty intersection with the obstacle as potential obstacle in order to keep the formal guarantees for the original system. And so with this coarser level of discretization, we find that it's possible to go from the left to the right to control the system potentially. But if we use a finer grid, for example, this one, then it seems possible to control the system from the left to the right. But because maybe of the over approximation of the reachable set, still it's too dangerous to take this action because we could reach a cell with a non-empty intersection with an obstacle. But again, if we refine the partition, finally, we found that it's possible to control the system from the left to the right with correct guarantees. But the problem is that the number of cells will grow exponentially with the dimension of the space. And so there is that's the cost of dimensionality. So the advantage of this abstraction-based techniques is the formal guarantee that it can provide, but the disadvantage is this exponential increase with the number of states. And so there is a trade-off to find between the precision of the computation of the reachable set, the size of the cell, and the execution time. And so, for example, we could use set propagation techniques in order to compute an approximation of the reachable set, which are precise techniques to iteratively propagate an initial set with respect to the underlying dynamics. But it will take too much time to do it for all the cells of the partition. And so that's why in practice, people are using less precise but faster methods. So by computing what we call the Gros-Band function of the reachable set. And basically, this is just an upper rectangle approximation of the reachable set, but it requires a precise bound on the partial derivative of the dynamical function inside an a priori enclosure of the trajectory. And so in practice, it's really difficult to compute precisely. In addition, the fact that the over approximation is component-wise could be also very conservative because we have to consider a lot of possible transition in the point of view of the abstraction. And so the problem to solve on the abstraction is much more difficult because there is much more possible transition. And so instead, what we could do, instead of using another approximation, is to use an under approximation of the reachable set. And in that way, we can get rid of the conservative of the approximation. But with this, and so the way that we could do it is simply simulate some trajectory starting in the given cell, and then identify all the cells in which the trajectory ends. But so the advantage is that we lose the conservatism, but the disadvantage is we lose the strong guarantees of the first approach because some behavior of the original system could be not present in the abstraction because we didn't simulate enough trajectories. Okay, and what is so possible is that only a small part of the cell is responsible from the non-determinism of the cell. So for example, in blue here, only a small part of the cell will in fact transition to this particular cell. And so to leverage this information, we propose to add some probabilities on the edges of the abstraction. And so basically, we will construct a probabilistic abstraction, which is just a Markov chain abstraction of the system. And so we have two, which is simply the finite set of states, where each state corresponds to a particular cell of the partition, and the matrix phi, which contains the conditional probabilities. And the way we compute the probabilities is simply from the cell, for a cell Q1 to a cell Q2, we take the relative number of transition ending, starting in cell Q1 and ending in the cell Q2. But there is also, so it's important to have in mind that these probabilities have not real meaning with respect to the underlying dynamics, because we do the assumption that the system verified the Markov property, which is not the case because it could be, in fact, the original system could be correlated with the previous sequence of states. And so it is also conservative to consider this kind of abstraction. And in order to reduce the conservatism, we could after increase, in fact, the memory of the Markov chain. But the problem is that it will increase the number of states. And so we have to do it smartly. And so I will say some words about how to do it, avoiding to compute it on the whole state space. And so what we would like is to be able to compare different partitions of the state space, because it is really a crucial point for the construction of abstraction. And for that, we plan to use some classical analysis tools from Markov chain. And so, for example, what we could see is that some cells could produce much more indeterminacy in the system. So, for example, the cell Q2 here has a high probability of ending in a single cell. So it's a quite deterministic state in the abstraction, while this one, the cell Q1, span uniformly over several cells. And so it's a much more random cell. And so to quantify this randomness of a cell, we propose to use the Shannon entropy of the outgoing probabilities edges as a measure. And so it will, in some sense, measure the quantity of information that we need in order to be able to identify the destination cell. But the problem is that it's only a local criterion to compare cell. And what we would like is a global criterion depending on the whole dynamics. And so if we add some additional assumption on the Markov chain, such as the irreducibility and the aperiodicity, we know that there exist some steady-state vector probabilities describing the long-term distribution probability. And we know that if this steady-state vector is concentrated on a small number of cells, then we will have, in the long-term run, high precision on the position of the system. And so, in order to be able to evaluate the dispersity of the steady-state vector, we propose again to use the Shannon entropy, but this time of the stationary distribution. And so it's illustrated in here on the van der Pol oscillator, which is a two-dimensional nonlinear system, for which there exists, in fact, a limit cycle. So it means that any trajectory starting in any point will, in fact, converge to this red trajectory in finite time. And what we can notice here is that the steady-state vector in yellow, with the opacity proportional to the steady-state probability of the cell, is really concentrated along this limit cycle. And so we can use these previous criterion in order to compare different partitions of the state space. And so, for example, in this graph, what we do, we simply compare different rotation of the grids, so of the partition. And we can identify, using the criterion of the Shannon entropy of the steady-state vector, we obtain, for example, this rotation, which is the better and the best one, and this is the worst. And as we see, it fits much more to the underlying dynamics. And also, we can use these steady-state vector probabilities in order to identify the region of the limit cycle by thresholding simply the steady-state vector. So this is all the cells which are strictly positive steady-state vector probabilities. And what we could do in order to reduce the conservative of the abstraction is only in this subregion of the state space increase the memory of the Markov chain. And in that way, we will, at the end, if we do it progressively, we can, at the end, obtain only one state with a given memory, which will be the limit cycle. And in that way, we avoid to compute it on the whole state space. Okay, so thanks for your attention. So if you have any question.
We don't have much time. I mean, people can ask over lunch. We still have to start at 1:30 because we don't understand the room, and we have to leave it at exactly 4 p.m. So we don't have much time to. So next talk is 1:30. The same schedule is maintained. All right, thank you. The lunch. Yeah, so lunch is just go to the British Library. There got some options inside there.